Okay, so welcome to the first demo meeting for Adobe Stock Integration project. And I'll start it with the basic general project overview. Let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so Adobe Stock Integration is a community project that was started at Imagine this year, just around 1 month ago. And it's developed in Magento Adobe Stock Integration repository. The project is not a fork of Magento, it's a package of modules. And the status of the project can be seen on the project backlog of the GitHub repository. So currently, we almost completed the first milestone for the project, and the only 3 tasks that are left from milestone 1 are expanded view on the grid, saving an image, and a filter for colors that we are currently working on with Raul. The project has the Wikipedia page with all the documentation, including technical documentation like installation guide, different technical designs, and product documentation, including the roadmap and all the stories. So here is basically the description of first milestone that I said we are coming to close to completion the first milestone right now. And the save image task is left for this milestone. That's something we are going to focus on the current and maybe next week. Okay, basically that's all for overview. Now I would like to invite our contributors to show their contributions that they are done to our project. Raul, would you like to start?
Okay, how can I share my screen?
Guys, before you start, can you just explain like how you're going to demo like all of the scope that was already implemented, or like by feature by feature?
I think we are going to demo to organize our demo based on pull requests. So it's feature by feature, but at the end, we expect to cover all the functionalities that was implemented.
Okay.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Yep, we can.
Okay, thanks. The first request I started working with was the tables in the database. You can see, I can show you. Where are them? Here is basically the DB schema that creates all the tables and all the foreign keys. You can see all the tables that file creates here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was at the contribution day at Imagine, and then then I continued working with functionality to test the API key that is needed to connect to Adobe Stock, and that can be seen in here.
Let me add about the tables in the database. We used our declarative schema approach that was introduced in Magento 2.3. Yes, and we didn't use the old styles Magento table creations. But yeah, we used declarative approach.
So does it mean that this set of extensions will be compatible only with 2.3 and higher?
Yeah.
Well, there is a the whitelist. Does that whitelist not allow to be backward compatible? Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
In 2.2, we still need to implement install scripts database setup. So
But as far as I understand, we're not going to install this Adobe Stock integration on 2.2. Is it correct?
I hope Olena can answer to this question, but I guess yes. We're targeting only for 2.3, Magento 2.3 version.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So in this case, we don't need these legacy installation scripts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And whitelists will allow. Sorry, Raul. Whitelists will allow easier upgrades for further patch releases and further releases of Magento.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Continuing with the that other functionality I was talking about, which involves a button that can be used to test the API key. I'm going to show in a minute. Is this part? Well, also add this section to store the API key and this dropdown that can be used to enable or disable integration, and also this button that allows to work.
It's in developer mode.
Yes, still in developer mode. Let's give it a try.
Oh, sweet.
So if you click on that, you can see it says successful, try again.
So Raul, how did you get this API key? So you have some value.
The API key, well, the documentation specify where we should, what website we should visit to get the API key. If we go to
And Raul probably didn't merge the latest develop branch because he implemented the tooltip for this field on the backend with a short documentation where we can retrieve this API key with the link to Adobe IO console. So we already have a notice under the field with a short explanation where we can get this.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. It was a comment.
Yeah.
Initially, it was a tooltip in this area, but then the tooltip was difficult to click on, so I decided to change to a comment in here, and that comment contains a link to basically this section where you can get an API key and also an explanation for the user to understand where to get a key from. that was part of the development of this thing. And more recently, I've been working on the filters. The filters can be seen in here, content page or content CMS, where the actual images can be from Adobe Stock can be seen. Let's use this page, for example. Click in here and then insert and edit image. We browse for images. We see the search Adobe Stock button here. And if you click in here, you can see the filters. I basically work on adding this offensive, I think it was, and isolated, and lastly, this color filter, which I still have, as you can see, an issue here where the label doesn't show. But I would say it works because you can use to filter to add to the filters in here. That is basically the things been working on. If somebody else can show their work.
Okay, thanks very much, Raul. That's the big part, a big and nice part of the functionality implemented. But yeah, let's move forward. And who wants to demo next?
I can go.
Go ahead,
Igor.
Igor.
Yes, let me share my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yep.
Actually, I don't have anything visual to show, but my last pull request was a pull request to implement all the interfaces and the models that will be used by the Adobe Stock integration. So basically, I was creating all the modules to manage and store all the data in the database tables that we are creating into this extension. So all the backend functionality basically is going to use these classes to manipulate all the data. So in this pull request, I was creating all the classes for each specific table. And basically, my last pull request was doing that.
Okay, Igor, maybe you can just show us a little bit or expand a little bit more. So we have some database tables, and you created the application layer to manage this data, maybe access or write it or whatever else. Maybe you can explain briefly the purpose of this database table. So what kind of information we are storing there, and actually why do we need this information, how we use it?
Yes, let me open here the database.
I can add a background for this task, for this, a large pull request. It was really simple task. We need to remove like some data from the image that belongs to the image. An image will be deleted from the storage. So we just need to implement some plugin, and in case when we are removing some image, all the data will be removed too. And Igor implemented all the modules for the tables to remove this data. But yeah, the original task was very simple. Just implement the plugin that will handle this request.
Yeah, but I will add that Igor's contribution covering all the model specification and add in the repository is a really big help for us to implement the safe, to implement actually all the work with image attributes in future, like to implement the safe image and then display an attributes on the grid on the front end. Okay, thanks a lot, Igor. And Valentin is on the call. Valentin, would you like
Valentin.
Hi. I was. This is my first contribution project, so I will show.
Good start.
My contribution. I was working on the filters like Raul, and I had to implement the premium price filter. So, do you see my screen?
Okay, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, I need to add attention.
Yeah, so probably you can notice over the browser, but you need to install the BlueJeans extensions on your machine.
Sorry.
That's okay. I had to do that thing as well. Didn't have the plugin previously installed.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that was fast. And now we can see a screen.
Yep.
Do you see now?
Yeah, we can see both. Yeah.
Okay.
We're seeing two monitors.
Yeah, we see two monitors.
Okay. So here is a new book, and then I want to add a new image. Have the button to search Adobe stock, and here is the price filter. And if we choose premium image, premium prices, we can see that works. I want to share with you some my experience with the process. I was talking about this with Stanislav, and but first of all, I was confused about the name and the finality of the filter, because I was thinking that is about types of price, and really is about the premium price, if it's not enable or not enable. And we changed the name, and now it's premium price instead of price. And that is all for now.
And as I see, these pull requests and these contributions already merged and available in develop branch, correct?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I mean, your pull request is already merged to develop branch, and it is available already today.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Okay, thank you, Valentin. Is there anybody else on the call who would like to show their contribution? Okay, then I think Stas wants to finalize and show everything, like everything in integration.
Yeah. On my screen. I will start with configuration page. Raul already showed us the Adobe Stock integration section, and here is the latest changes from the develop branch that I was merged a few hours ago. So about the changes on this page. We made the API key field with type password, and nobody can see your API key right now. It's hidden. And
actually, is it encrypted on the database?
We are using our default configuration framework, Magento default configuration framework. So if Magento will encrypt any of them, so it will be encrypted. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. It uses the secret key to encrypt this data.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Probably we don't want to store it in the open state.
Yeah, sure.
Quick question
also,
on this, if you don't mind. So you decided to hide the key after user enters and mouse over from the input, or like when it happened? Can you just like walk through that experience?
it's just a type password when you type it.
Okay, but if you test the connection.
For example, I have a valid token right now.
Okay.
Let me check. I need to save my token before.
Is there any way to get it back out after you've entered it, or is it a one-way process?
It's one-way process.
So, and what are the objectives of like hiding them in admin panel? Do we do this stuff for other APIs keys that we use for integration?
Yes. I can show you, for example, we have payment methods in Magento, and all API keys has the same.
Yeah, all tokens, keys, passwords, and other stuff. So they should be encrypted and securely stored in the database. I believe that's our compliance requirements.
Yes, it's working. For example, I want to test connection. I have a valid token and I have successful test. So I pass something random string and test it again. Yeah. And I received a message that I have an invalid API key.
By the way, do we need to save it before testing?
Yeah. We are using this key from the configuration. Probably we can rework it and add testing before the same. Like you passed some API key and tested it without the saving. We need to discuss it.
Yeah, I believe that will be a nice improvement. Usually we test something before saving, I would say.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's not possible to test without kind of saving the configuration?
Right now, all configuration fields that has like similar functionality works with saved data only. So you need to save it and test this way. But we can improve it.
It's a standard Magento mechanism. When you need to get some configuration, it always take the configuration from the database or from the XML files, and like we do not store a runtime configuration. That's why you need to at first save it, and after that you can use it.
Yeah, thank you, Jin, for clarification.
And we added short sentence where you can retrieve the API key.
That looks like you're stuck.
Maybe he lost the connection.
Yeah, it looks like Stas dropped.
He will be back in a moment.
Yeah, he was keep showing the things, but yeah, he didn't notice that he's disconnected. Yeah, he's reconnecting right now.
I'm back.
Yep. again.
Yeah, I had a connection problem.
Yeah, you're back.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
We see new CMS
Okay.
page.
Yes, we are on the CMS page. We are trying to create the new page, and for example, I want to add some image from the gallery. We added the new button to the Magento Media Gallery, search Adobe stock. We can push it, and we can see images.
You're not sharing anything.
No, we can see the screen. I can see the screen.
I can see as well.
The same.
Me too.
By default,
Oh yeah,
we
now I
can
see
see
it.
32 images per page without any filters, and it's like random default images provided by Adobe stock without any additional filters or search criteria. We
Did you just loaded 1 million images or only 32 of them?
We loaded only 32 of them, but we have 1 million, a lot of images in Adobe stock. We can add more images per page. We have 3 default options, 32, 48, and 64 images. The maximum count of images per page is 64. This number limited by the Adobe stock API, so we can't get more images.
And what is custom?
We can add, for example, 10, but in range from 1 to 64.
Why we have this custom option?
It's default option on every Magento grid. Probably we can disable it, but I'm not sure that we can disable it by the configuration.
Yeah, I believe we can. The question is, so we would like to have same experience on all grids, like we have in Magento, or we want to just remove this option and do not provide this feature for the users of Adobe stock. It's mostly about same experience or just build something new.
To be honest, I see this custom option for the first time in this grid, so maybe it was recently added or something, or I just like didn't sort the pages for a long time.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll make a note on this and we will check one more time.
Okay,
on the
thank
requirements. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we can choose the different number of images per page. For example, I choose 64 images per page. One of the requirements was that the grid should be responsive, and we can try it. We can see that the grid rebuilds.
Oh, it looks really great.
Very smooth
If we change the width of the top. Yeah. Also, we can navigate between pages. We can search more images, and we can we can search images by keywords, for example, and we can search cars or toys.
Yeah, very good response time.
Yeah, it's really fast. And we can apply filters. Guys showed us already implemented filters. We have orientation filter. We can, for example, choose square images and give only square images.
There's one question here. This filter works using AND or condition?
It's or condition.
It's either square or vertical, or it should be square and let's say
It should be square. It should be square or vertical. So we can use only one condition at a time.
You mean one condition from single type, right?
Yeah. If we need to choose, like multi-select, probably we already have this component in Magento, and we can try to use a few types at the moment.
I don't think it will be applicable. Image can be either square or not square in terms of vertical or horizontal, right?
So, Sergey, the point is to see at the same search
yes,
square and horizontal images, both types.
So we needed to implement this, yes?
I remember sorry, guys. I remember that we discussed that with Eugene, the options, but I don't remember what we decided.
Task, can you open filters one more time? But slowly. Yes.
Okay.
So my first question was, I want to search all horizontal images with a premium price. And this will be end condition here, correct? Between filters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty clear. Then we're talking if I want to search something horizontal or square, and right now it sounds like we cannot. The question is, do we have this option available on the Adobe Stock API side?
I don't know. I don't know if you can do both, but what you are missing is an option called all. So the default is all orientations. But I don't think you can select two of them, for example. I think you have to select one or all.
Okay.
Horizontal, vertical, square, or all.
I believe basically filter is not applied. We are searching for all images.
Is there a way to remove that orient? Oh, I see. That's the you would click at the top.
Yeah, and we can remove all filters by click on the clear all button.
I believe the question was about the options for the orientation. Right now we have select, horizontal, vertical, and square. Probably it makes sense to add option here, kind of all. Chris, is that what's your question?
Oh yeah, I was just saying the default is all, but it might make sense to have it as an explicit option here.
Yes, so I would also agree with that. It would be more clear for the user to see all there. Also, the original mockups were having a multi-select component, and it seems like Adobe Stock supports that. At least I see it on the website. I can filter by horizontal, vertical, square, or even panoramic. There's another option called panoramic, and I can checkbox that. Basically, I can check horizontal and square, for example.
Let me look at that. I'm not sure if that's supported in the API. There is an option for panoramic, but that's actually a separate API. Separate parameter. So you could add that, but then you would have to have two options selected, or it could be a separate control for panoramic.
Okay, yeah, but I would definitely allow all, and that would be basically like a kind of default setting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, let's check on the API side. If we can support multiple choices for orientation, probably we should consider this. If API doesn't support it, probably we will stay with what we have.
So, and I suggest to check the default option for each of the filters, because I believe all is the default value for many of that.
Okay.
So, and if we have all, we don't need an option select, because all is selected by default. So there's something that kind of users will always see. So it's like more explicit filter.
Okay.
I agree with Elena. Yeah.
Just to clarify, do you mean that by selecting all, user will remove the filter from the grid?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yep. So
And
we have
could you
for
also
filters,
check
yeah.
if the multiple orientations can be selected? Because I just checked, and yeah, we had that in the requirements specified.
Okay, we will check the API. If we can do it, we will change it to the multi-select, and we will use a few options to filter the results.
Also, in isolated images only on the mockups, it's a checkbox, I believe, and there is
Yes.
a help tooltip that kind of explains what it means for users.
I reviewed the mockups. I didn't find the checkbox component for the filters. We didn't have it in Magento, so we need to leave it as select or implement the new type of filter for the Magento grids.
We have a toggle,
So,
I believe. It's definitely more suitable because it's. I believe the default option is explicit. It's not clear what I have when there is no filter selected.
okay.
Yeah, if we don't have a component for that, I would definitely agree. Like, let's just have a default value explicitly stated in the dropdown. This is fine if we don't have checkbox. It's really doesn't make any big difference.
What about toggle, Eugene? What do you think?
So we don't have toggle as well there. So
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like if we want that, we want to build a new component for filter, right?
Got it.
As far as I remember, we have only select component for the filters, just a text field, and date
or a
range.
range.
Oh, range, yeah, date range or
yeah,
or digit range, yeah.
But to be honest, also currently Magento UI components do not support drop-in filters by selecting one of filter options. So if we want to implement that, probably we'll need to make an update to the Magento UI components. And I don't, there is no such behavior on other grids right now.
You mean multi-select?
No, I mean selecting an option, like if we will add all options. And
for example, for the orientation filter, we have option provider only with 3 options: horizontal, vertical, and square. And in the grid configuration, we have node caption. Then we can pass, any text for the caption. And we have select in the caption right now for the all filters. And there is no ability to choose the first option for the filters by default in Magento grids.
So it will basically be a label replacement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that will work.
Okay, so we just replace select to the all, and filter will not be applied.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, cool.
So is it still possible to add a tooltip to isolated images if it's a drop down?
Let me check if we have such functionality we can edit. So it probably will be really simple to edit just in the configuration. And if we don't have it, we need to decide we won't implement it or not.
Okay, yeah, just let us know if we have that already in the grid.
Okay. Alena, can you please clarify in more details about this tooltip? Like what?
On the mockup, we have a small tooltip next to the isolated images that kind of helps users to understand what isolated images are, because it's not like very common term that every person knows. So that's kind of why it's important for user experience.
Oh, okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, so how it looks on the mockups. I hope that's it. It's probably all functionalities that we already implemented. It also available on the latest develop branch. About the plans, we implemented new UI component for the grid that renders images, like you can see within responsive grid, and we're planning to deliver this component to the Magento 2 core. And every developer will have ability to use it in projects, extensions, you know.
You mean you're going to merge that in Magento to the 3 develop branch?
Yeah.
Not entire functionality, but only this component.
Yes, only this component.
Oh, okay. Got it.
It's completely reusable, and yeah, we want to
Okay.
share it with all contributors.
Yeah, sure, it makes sense.
So what are the next steps?
The next steps. Let me check the board. We have few major tasks that we need to implement. It's expand preview image. When you click on the image, we can see we can enlarge this image and retrieve some image information like category, dimensions of the image, and see this image a little bit bigger. So it's like a main part of the work that we need to do to complete the milestone first. And also we need to implement the safe preview functionality of the media gallery. So this functionality will provide ability to save this image to your media gallery and use it across the Magento.
So we have two major tasks left, correct?
Yes, two major tasks. One complete front-end task to display this image, and one complete back-end task to save this image to the media gallery.
Do they depend on each other, or we can start working on them in parallel?
Probably we can start work parallel because we can implement API endpoints for image save, and just to call, you know, from any REST clients this API with stop data and implement the functionality.
At least covered with API functional test, just to test the functionality.
Sure. I think this task can be divided into 3 independent tasks, like save image, show extended view, and third one, show the saved attributes that can be implemented after save image, after the first 2 tasks.
We have 3 tasks for that. Yeah, we have expand preview image thumbnail on thumbnail click. We have task render image attributes on the preview. That depends on the expand preview image task, because we can render image attributes only when we will implement the expanded view for the image. And we have 2 tasks for the image save. We have task for image save to the media gallery and task for save image attributes to the database. So probably we also can develop this task separately. One of them just saves attributes to the database, and the second one just save image to the storage. And we have several bugs that should be fixed to complete milestone first. And of course, we need to cover all functionality by the automated tests. We have pull request with small API refactoring that probably will be merged today. And after it will be merged, we can cover all backend code with at least unit tests, integration tests, and a little bit later we can start to cover functionality with functional tests.
Good. Good.
Thank you, guys. That was really amazing, especially the grid and how responsive it is. It's kind of outstanding work. One question on that. Did you test this module on cloud or only on local installations?
Right now, yeah, we are working on the local installation.
Are you going to test it on cloud?
Yeah, probably when we will have a working prototype that we can deploy to the cloud and test it here.
We actually do have CI/CD builds running right now with that extension, right?
Yes, we added this extension to our CI/CD system, and we can run all Magento tests with this extension enabled.
I believe the tricky part will be when you will save images, when you download images and save and preview images. The case with the cloud will be like a read-only file system, so we have some limitations, which folders are writable, which are not. But since we already have this media gallery,
media gallery.
So if we will follow same approaches, same thing and nothing specific, so it should work and feed to existing infrastructure requirements, file system requirements. If not, we should reconsider this stuff. But yeah, I hope it will work. But anyway, once we'll implement this logic to saving the files, we will go to cloud and we will start testing there as well.
We are going to use Magento media storage classes, Magento media storage functionality for that, so it will be exactly the same as uploading media from admin panel.
Yeah, we're going to review existing stuff that provides media gallery, and if we decide that we need some additional API endpoints, this API endpoints will be developed and delivered to the Magento core tool. Yeah, we will just use the Magento endpoints to upload the images.
So, Stas, do you have any test cases already described for the project? Or we're still in progress? Keep test.
Yes.
So we have something ready, or we're still working on it?
We have several tests. I had it in chance to review it more carefully.
I think we have 3 scenarios created, and this work is still in progress, so we are creating more test cases right now.
Yeah. Once ready, probably it would be nice to present it as well.
Okay. Yeah, we just started the past week, so yeah, I'm on the 3 right now.
Hey guys, I think we'll share the test cases in chat as well on heap tests, and those test cases will be used to, if somebody would like to write automation tests based on these cases.
Great job, guys. And yeah, additionally, I want to say one more time, thank you for Igor, Raul, and Valentin for joining this project, for your contributions. Yeah, right now, you're really drivers of this project, and I'm happy to see you working with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, guys, it's a big pleasure to work with you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.